All right, boys and girls, welcome back to Talk Your Walk. I'm your host, Blake Danger, and I am really excited for this one tonight. Man, so this is my boy Tommy. What's up, Tommy?
Yes. What's up, kid? How are you, buddy?
Good, man.
What's going
Good.
on?
Not
Yes.
much, dude. So I've been thinking all day on like how I wanted to do the intro for this. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Great.
because when I first started to do this podcast, these are the
Yeah.
type of conversations I want to get in with. And I'm getting ready to tell everybody how we met. But
Yeah.
you are seriously someone in my life that I met for a weekend,
That's right.
and that we had this weird bond.
Yeah.
and from afar,
Yeah.
it's lasted since I looked it up today. It was 2012 is when
No way.
2012.
Are you serious, dude?
2012, dude. So that's 9 years that you and I have just had this little connection, right?
Yeah.
Just mainly through social media.
Right.
So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of let people know how we met real quick, and then I
Please.
truly want to get to know you,
Yes.
because
you will. You will.
yeah, because
Yes.
but back to kind of my thought of earlier, what I was going to say is, when I first started to do this podcast, it was probably about 5 years ago. I was having a really good conversation with a buddy of mine that I've known for like 15 years, and
Right.
it let me into his life, and it made me realize I don't know I don't know my own friends. Like,
Yeah.
right. So there's some real good conversations that have come out of that friendship. So anyways,
Right.
so you've obviously been someone that I've seen, from afar, and I think we always keep more in contact on social media than anything. But
Yeah.
so yeah, let me as I'm rambling, let me get the story out of how we met.
Yes.
And your story might be a little bit different, but I'll at least give you mine.
So you started, and then I just told another friend of mine the story today, and I'll tell it to you again.
I kind of want to hear yours first.
First,
Yeah.
I used to work for this celebrity gifting company, and they were too cheap to fly any photographers other than myself out to these various states and cities that we would go in for these huge events. And this event was the Super Bowl.
Right.
Don't even ask me who was playing. You looked it up. I would have thought it was 2015. I had no idea it was 2012. You said that
Yeah.
like the concept of time doesn't even enter my brain that way, because if somebody had asked me, I would have bet my bottom dollar that it was like 16, 17, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But so I developed this way of finding local photographers, because it's really awkward to call some random person and say, hey, I'm coming into town. I need you to show up and shoot these pictures with me. I'm going to pay you on the last day, and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And obviously it sounds like a joke. Obviously it sounds like somebody's going to get, it sounds like a scam
or something,
or a scheme or a scam. And I am hyper aware of that. So for me, because I've done it a few times, for me, when it's people that I don't know, I am hypersensitive to what it looks like, and therefore overly concerned with getting you to a space where you feel comfortable. You recognize that, oh, this guy's not going to twist me up and leave town with my pictures. So until we get to that point, for me, it's just, I know I keep reinforcing that you're going to be paid. This will be fun. I promise. I know it's unorthodox.
Which is what every scam says as well.
Which is what every single scam says.
Yeah.
That so unorthodox. So trust me.
Yes, exactly. So was that part of your job? You had to be the one to initiate the, hey, I'm coming to town, I need an assistant, I Googled you, right? So okay, so go ahead and continue. So because you didn't contact me, remember?
I think no. So what I did was Indianapolis, I believe. What I did was I Googled photographers Indianapolis, and the person that I got said, "Dude, I'm too big for that," or "I could never," or whatever it was that they said.
Really?
Some huge commercial photographer. I don't have no idea who that was, by the way.
Oh my goodness.
And either he or she said, I have a couple guys that come in and help me and assist me. Maybe they would be interested. I said, hey, you know what? That works for me. Give me some names. And your name was one of the names, I believe. And I think I can't really remember. All I remember is you, by the way. But I think I hired a couple more guys that weekend.
You may have.
It was more than you and I. It was more than you and I.
So yeah, there was from what I understand, you reached out, like you said, Indianapolis photographer, and you landed on Christy Winburn, I believe is her name, and she's somebody I went to church with. At least this is how I got the story. And then she told me, hey, I know this sounds crazy, but there's a guy from California, that is coming and wants an assistant, and of course it's the Super Bowl, and I'm a sports fan, and so it was right up my alley. So of course I said yes. So that's how I feel like I heard about it.
Yeah, and that sounds pretty much spot on as far as what I had to do. And I've had to do that in the south of France, by the way.
Really?
I've had to do it in Miami. I've had to do it in New York. I've had to do it in all these places. And it's such and I already know that perception is going to be, dude, like, you should have had this done weeks ago. But then it was the last minute when we found out we were going. I had to get a really good rate for the guys I was hiring locally. And,
wow.
And so just to get past all of the, dude, is this really a thing?
Right.
So, which is the most important part to me, because I keep my word to a fault. And I don't want anybody for 2 seconds feeling like I didn't, fulfill what I told them I would do.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny because like the second I met you, it was like he's a real one.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it was very strange, and it's very rare. Not strange, but it's rare in life where that happens. And I've had it a couple times, and everybody I've done it to and had that interaction with, for 20 years we've been friends.
Yeah.
And it was just sort of inconsequential sort of meeting, and then because like I just said to you, I have done this in countless cities across the U.S. and Europe, and nowadays, this was before Instagram, I think, was really big. So nowadays, like, I follow your Instagram or whatever. I'm like, okay, whatever. But there was no rhyme or reason for that to happen unless it was just completely organic and natural and supposed to happen.
Exactly.
And after the Katy Perry concert, I said, God, just keep them in my life, please.
Dude, I've told people about this experience in my life 100 times.
Yeah.
Like I met besides probably Michael Jordan, I met the majority of my childhood heroes that day. Let me remind you, and for those that are listening, I met Joe Montana, Barry Sanders was there, Deion Sanders was there.
That's right. Yep.
Kate Upton, before she was Kate Upton.
That's right. Right?
I remember seeing like Aaron Andrews. And then the only person I got a picture with, Snoop Dogg. Because he was so cool. Like, he just was, he was so happy, and we probably all know why he was so happy.
That's right.
Living that 100%. Yeah, right. Exactly. But yeah, man, I could not believe I was just sitting there, like, so close to these athletes, and it's probably nothing to you, but at that moment in my life, I was just like, and I remember you saying something like, it's kind of frowned upon to ask to get a picture with them. I understand you want to, but try not to.
Or try to do it on a DL. Try to do it when nobody's looking.
Right. Yeah. And to explain what I was taking pictures of. Every year when they have the Super Bowl, they have a beach bowl, and there's a bunch of celebrities and former athletes and all that. Terrell Owens was there as well.
He's always everywhere.
Yeah, no kidding. Wherever there's a free handout, right?
Wherever there's a free handout, Terrell Owens will be there. Wow. Did I just say that? I wouldn't lie on anybody, but go ahead.
Yeah. I don't have the viewers on this podcast quite yet, so you might be all right. Not too many people.
You will.
Yeah. Okay, so, and Tommy, you can probably you explain it better, because you're the one that worked with the company. What did the company do? I know what I was what I was taking pictures of, but go ahead.
Yeah, so it was celebrity giftings. They were really big in LA. You know, HBO has one, the Academy Awards has one, and I work for this company called GBK Productions. And you know, I'm sure we'll get into all of this, but I found myself shooting all these people like you that I grew up watching. I
Mhm.
remember being at Sundance and shooting like Bo and Luke Duke. And I'm like, are you kidding? Like,
Mm.
what? Like I sat
Mm.
at my grandparents' house watching the Dukes of Hazzard my whole life, and now you're in front of me. It was just like this weird
Yeah.
sort of thing in Sundance. And then I realized that, you know, I can shoot pictures and get a check and be done with it, or I could try to turn this into something else, which is part of the reason I started shooting for my book, which we will get into
Mhm.
it later on.
Definitely.
But
Definitely.
it was just a way to, I got into it to earn money. That's why I got
Yeah.
into
Oh
it.
yeah, for
And then
sure.
I became the main guy in LA. In LA, we always hired the same guys. You know,
Mhm.
and it was supposed to be a Friday night, a Saturday night on occasion, sometimes on a Sunday, right before the award show. And you know, a quick gig. You know, you do it, you show up, you shoot some pictures, you turn the pictures over, you get a check, and you go home.
Yeah.
And then what happened? You know, it's a quick $600-700 or whatever it was.
Right.
But then, you know, people want more and more money, and then it's hard. And now the company didn't want to fly those guys out, so I had to find local people willing to come out for a couple of days and shoot. And that has not been the easiest task, because there's always that, what, dude, are you serious? uh
Yeah.
it's always that, but I sort of have a way to get around that, you know, just being genuine.
Yes. Now, were you able to start developing a team to where when you would go back to specific cities, you knew you could contact specific people?
Yeah, in Miami we used to do the Food and Wine Festival.
Okay.
And for years, I always hired the same guys, or one guy wouldn't be available, so he would say, "Oh, you should hire." So yes, that happened in New York for the Food and Wine Festival, to hire the same guys. It was only really a problem if it was our first time in a city that we had never been in, and trying to find local guys to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
yeah, that's gonna be tough. So
yeah,
man, there's so many places to go with this. So yeah, so
yeah.
that was basically it. To explain a little bit more, like basically celebrities would just walk by, grab a product that somebody is trying to promote, and we'd
That's
snap
right.
a picture,
That's right.
and then of course they get to keep the gift and
Right.
hopes to tell people about it or
Tell
whatever.
people
So
about it, or whoever
yeah,
likes Joe Montana, be like, "Oh my God, Joe Montana is wearing that watch. I'm gonna
yeah,
go buy one." And
yeah.
it happened a lot, where people would see a product on a particular celebrity and just go for it. Yeah,
It does. It's so crazy, and it's crazy how much money these celebrities can make just by holding a Coca-Cola can in
just
a
about whole. Yeah,
podcast.
exactly right.
you
Exactly
know,
right. I remember once we were shooting. I was shooting Molly Ringwald, and she had a water bottle in her hand, and she was like hiding the name of the water bottle, because
yeah,
it was a sponsor, and she's like, "Listen, I'm not
you
going to
got to
show you
pay
this
me.
water bottle if you don't pay me," which I completely respect.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of crazy. One time there was this situation in New York City with one Lindsay Lohan,
Oh yeah, we know her.
and this was during her rough. She was trying to come out of her rough phase or whatever it was, and she had come through, and she had gone through all these and gotten all this free stuff, and she wasn't taking pictures. But it was Lindsay Lohan, and nobody wanted to say anything to her. And I said, "Wait a minute,
Right.
I'll say something to her. Do you want me to say something to her, or I'll take that stuff back?
Yeah,
Like, just
yeah.
give me the." And they didn't want. You don't want that kind of press either. But
Right.
my thing is this: everybody here paid to be here, and they want you to hold the product. They want you to have the product, but and you came here willingly. Like, just take a
R-
picture with it,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sometimes you ran into that on occasion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so okay, so you're not doing that anymore? That line of work?
I am not doing that line of work anymore. I am still friends with Gavin, who ran the whole thing. But it was January of 2019. He had hired a new PR person, and she and I sort of butted heads at
Mhm.
the Golden Globes, and I wasn't having it, and I was not having it. And after that, we just decided that if she was going to be there, then I couldn't be there, because what she was asking for was, she wanted the photographers to go home every day, label each picture by the name of the celebrity, and then send that out. And I said to her, I said, that's not happening. Like, you're not paying I can't control these people when they leave. We'll get the shots at the end of it like we always do, unless you want to pay them. She goes, well, yeah, that's what you're paid for. I said, no, we're doing what we're paid for. You're adding to it. And just to give you an example of what she did, there was I can't remember who the celebrity was, but she told my guy who was doing the video, she goes, oh my God, I need a clip as soon as possible. E! News is going to run it tonight. So he goes home and he edits this clip together and sends it to her that night. She never even downloaded it.
Really?
And, yeah. So he goes, it expired. She never downloaded it. I went and did all the extra work for like 4 hours. I said, that's why I was not going to play her game with her. And after that, dude, life has been good. Life has been great. And Gavin, he and I actually eventually talked about it, but I just decided it was best for me to just onward and upward.
So what was your step then? I mean, is that when, because I feel like when we met, were you starting, I feel like you were telling me about the Black Hollywood book project.
Yeah. Say it again for the people in the back. No. So I think,
did I say it right was the question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good. All right.
It's so funny. And we'll get into this too. I have a Zoom in the morning because between the two of us and all your listeners, I think that I think this is it. I'll know more tomorrow and I'll send you a text tomorrow or by Monday. But I got a really, really cool positive call today. I have a Zoom tomorrow about timing and setting up a timeline, which means if that happens, I'm probably gonna have to give up every single job that I have to do this and get it and have it done effectively by Labor Day, which is basically tomorrow. Like Labor Day is tomorrow. It is tomorrow. Do you know what I mean?
So
like it's tomorrow.
So okay, so let the listeners know what are you referring to? What's the big news? Well, can you say it?
Well, I don't want to jinx anything because I've been at this precipice so many times that I will call and do an addendum so that you can add to this. In next week. I just want to make sure I want to get my signature on something first.
That's what's up. I understand.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I don't want to jinx that either, dude.
No, please don't. Please don't. Because I want you here on the day. I want you here when we have the big party.
Ooh, I'll take pictures for your family, for you.
No, you don't have to. I want you to come and have a good time, man. That's all I need.
Man.
We'll have plenty of people taking pictures.
That'd be so awesome.
It'll happen for sure.
So talk about the industry. So for those that don't know, I mean, I'm sure you picked it up by now. Tommy's a professional photographer and he's incredible. Yep. He does have a book out. I love the footage you've been putting out of like you taking the pictures and interacting with the celebrities and whatnot. That's honestly in my little small world, that's something I would love to do, is like showing the interactions and showing the connection with the model or the bride or groom or whatever. That's a little bit of where my passion comes from it. You know, that no different than the way we connected. Like you're connecting with somebody else and then you are providing them with a beautiful portrait, you know, or a beautiful moment, you know, if it's a wedding or whatever. So that's a little bit of where my passion comes from. So let me ask you, you know, you are a whole lot more into the world of photography and you have so much more knowledge. You can even talk about how you kind of started into it. And then, you know, I'm pretty sure you went to college for it, right? Yeah. Just just give us the introduction of how you became a photographer.
So I just told a story today. I was always a really quiet, shy kid growing up. I didn't want to be like in the front of anybody's camera. I didn't want to be the center of attention, or maybe secretly I did. I just like shied away from it. And then I joined the Army. And so in like middle school, I would take a camera to school. And in high school, I joined the yearbook staff. And I was always the guy with the camera that everybody wanted pictures of. And when the yearbooks came out, people would say to me, do you realize the yearbook is just about you and your friends? I'm like, listen, I would have taken pictures of anybody who had got in front of the camera.
Grab a camera.
Just jump in front. So that was my first taste of sort of being like published, if you will. And so many people know me. I was always the guy with the camera. And so that has followed me. That's followed my whole life. I never wanted to do anything else except be a an astronaut, but that probably was not going to ever happen.
For real.
That probably was never going to happen. So I joined the Army, and then I got out and I went to school in Santa Barbara, Brooks Institute, the now defunct Brooks Institute of Photography. And it was a
And where
3-year
was this?
year-round program.
And where was this located?
It was in Santa Barbara, California.
Oh, okay. Now, where were you? You weren't born and raised in California, were you?
No, I was born and raised in Columbia, South Carolina.
Okay. Okay.
I'm from the
See,
South.
the South. There's
The
so
South.
many. There's so many because there's so much I don't know about you. There's so many
Yeah.
ways to take
Yeah.
these conversations. I'm trying
Yeah,
so
let's
hard
do
to
it.
stay on track. I know. Because I about just jumped to your birth right in the middle of you going to college. That's what I do, man. And then like
That's
3
funny.
hours later, we'll talk about your birth again or something. So
Yeah.
I don't want to get too far off track. So okay, so you went. So you left. So that was the first time you left home, right? Was to go to school?
No, the first time I left home was to go into the military.
You're right. My bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I left home when I was 18 and got stationed in Germany.
Wow.
That's where I got the travel bug. Now I travel a lot because I'm always interested in new people, and Europe is particularly fascinating to me. So, and I bought my first big SLR there and shot all over Europe anytime I left, and just wanted to pursue it like professionally. And I would get American Photo Magazine, and I always wanted to come to California. So I would flip through and see where Brooks, like all the students would get their pictures posted and printed, and they would win all these competitions. And I was like, God, that's what I want to do. I want to learn how to do this, from here and not just from the back of the camera, the computer on the camera. So when I got out of the military and went back home, I had borrowed a car from Germany. I was waiting for the car to come to be delivered to me because I had it shipped. And when it showed up, I was 21. I just turned 21, and I got in it and headed to California.
Man, so was that hard? Was it hard to leave home, or was that an easy? Did you feel drawn to go into the military, or was it?
Well, the military was just like, I need to get out of Columbia. And I had applied to SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design in Georgia. And by the time I had joined the Army, I hadn't heard back from them. So when I was in basic training, my mom sent me a letter like, oh, they want you to come to the school. I'm like, oh, okay, that's great, because I just signed my life over for all this time. So maybe I'll ask them about a deferment. But while I was away, that's when I discovered about Brooks. And a really good friend of mine from the Army, his dad had gone to Brooks. So I would always ask him about, hey, so did your dad think of the school? And with it, and another thing, it's all this serendipity stuff. So when I called the school from Germany once to get some correspondence on the school, and the woman that answered the phone, she was like, oh, it's so funny. I hadn't told her anything. She goes, there was a gentleman that called me from the military, from Germany like 3 years ago, asking these very similar questions about wanting to come to photography school. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm calling you from Germany. And wait a minute. So his name was Sean Sanders. And when I finally made it to Brooks about a year after that call, he and I became really, really good friends. And when he graduated, obviously he graduated before me. He wrote this really cool thing about how proud he was of me, like from coming out and following my dream and all that. So it was good. He's still a good friend to this day.
So how many years did you stay in the military?
I was an active 4 years, and I was in National Guard 4 years. So when I got out of the Army, I came to California and I joined the California National Guard.
Oh wow, okay. So that's a big part of your life. So that was at least 8 years in the military, right?
That was at least 8 years. And it was the year that I got out was so funny because you have an 8-year commitment anytime you sign. They can call you back anytime within 8 years. I'm like, if they can do that, I'm just going to stay. And right at September 11, 2001 was at my 8th year. And I had I had just graduated in December of 99. And I had to decide if I was going to extend and be deployed to somebody's airport for a year, which I was upset and angry like everybody else. But I have to tell you, I did not want to sit in an airport for a year. I just didn't.
No, that'd be miserable.
That'd be miserable. And I just, with a bunch of guys that fart and burp all the time.
Yeah. And they're guys and they're bored.
And
They
they,
don't know
yeah,
what else to do.
and they don't know what else to do and tell the
Yeah.
most dirtiest jokes all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm good on that.
Yeah. You try to one up each other on the pranks and yeah.
Oh, dude, it's the worst.
Yeah.
So I just decided to not re-up and bless my brothers in arms, and we all got through it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So okay. So from the military, then you went straight into photography school, right?
That's right.
To Brooks. And I mean, did you immediately just like know where you wanted to take it or what you wanted to even take pictures of? Did you have a passion to do, one thing or another, or how? Because like to me, I'm the typical photographer that bought a nice camera, starts taking family pictures, takes some senior pictures, you eventually do a wedding, and then you just, and honestly, it's kind of what I still do. I never really branched out to working in studios with nice lights. I mean, I would love to shadow you on a day, dude.
Oh,
like
dude,
it would be,
come on, man.
I know.
That's not, come on, dude.
I know.
Like you've been watching me do this for a very long time. I was always into, it sounds cheesy now because there's no money in it, but I was always into like celebrity portraits. And even in school, I was building like big sets to like shoot in.
Oh,
so
wow.
I like being in control. Half the sets that I post for my book, I built. I couldn't find a dance floor for my Saturday Night Fever shot.
Yeah.
So I had to make it, or the shoot wasn't going to happen. So I got all these color gels and I cut these squares and I put black duct tape under the plexi and put a couple of heads under there and lit it. And it just worked. And I like figuring it out.
Yeah.
And I was copying all these scenes from movies. So of course I wasn't there when they shot Psycho, but I can look at it and sort of
take a scene
and recreate it based on the lighting. Now the lenses have changed since 1952, and the quality, everybody, they were shooting film back then. But that's one of the things I really, really, really do love, is because I get to interpret it with what I have now.
Yeah.
And it's been a great, fun, interesting, and because I've been doing that, dude, I have learned so much more about lighting than I ever did in school.
Oh yeah.
I can look at a situation, I'm like, oh, let's light that and put a light here and da 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 da. So it's just been really fun.
Now, so I'll be honest with you, man. Sometimes like I'll see a picture of a portrait on the front cover of whatever magazine, and I'll look at it and I'll just be like, what makes that such a great photo? Because on it, like, and there's part of me that says, I should appreciate the artistic ability of that, but like there's sometimes I'll view it and just be like, that's not how I would have edited it. Like I bet someone got paid a lot of money for that. And whatever,
Yeah.
I mean, is that just, I guess, in the eye of the beholder of the like you're talking about different lightings, like to where you can look at someone's face and be like, I just need a touch of light right here. I mean, is that just through training? Is it through teaching, or is it just through like your art, what you see when you're looking at it?
So this is one of the cool things that I appreciated about photography school, is that I'd been in class with 23 people and everybody would get the exact same assignment. Exact same assignment. But what was really, really cool for the critiques is everybody's interpretation of it.
Right.
So you had 23 different interpretations of what the assignment was. And sometimes you sit there like, holy cow, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. And at one point I ended up in a class with like all the top student photographers at the school. So it became like, survival of the fittest. Like it was a fight. So you're like, oh yeah, really? What? I'm gonna knock it out this weekend. I promise. Don't even worry about nothing. so that was always fun. So to answer your question, I think that whatever you are to the art, that always comes across. You and I, if you put what we did together all those years ago, in the same folder, and we opened it, I can always tell the shot that I took. And I'm sure you
Exactly.
can too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're bringing you to that. I can't bring you to it. You have to bring you to it. And that's going
Right.
to be different from me. And I've seen guys who just have this excellent ability to put, somebody on a stool right here. And I'm like, dude, how did you take, like, my brain wouldn't have even gone there. So I've been trying to to teach myself or show myself, like, you don't have to be right in front of them. Like, go around and go under and go up and like
Yeah.
light the back of their head, because that's the stuff that end up on the cover of magazines. And listen, I like to play it safe as well.
Right.
But
Being creative is what people are
being
looking for,
creative
something
is
different.
what, right. And
Anyone
because
can take that
everybody has
basic
a
shot.
camera now, and every cell phone everybody's a photographer, you really do have to try to stand out in a crowd, which is difficult enough as is.
What do you like? What's your favorite thing? Is it still to do the portraits? Is it, obviously you're making this book. I mean, is that have you found like your love of what of what you like to shoot? As
I
far as like,
have.
let me add to it real quick. As far as like creating the sets, like, is that part of your passion? Because that's something I wanted to allude to. It's like no one even thinks about that,
Right.
especially with people with cell phones. I just got what I was going to say.
Okay.
I'm back, people. I got
Yeah,
this.
you are. Yeah, you are.
Has the popularity of cell phones and the easiness of portraits being or pictures being taken, has that affected the industry as a whole? Do you know?
I think in the sense that photography is so instant now and it's so plentiful that the value of the picture has sort of minimized itself. And let me
Mm,
explain that. Because these cell phone cameras are so good. I had to light. I didn't shoot it. I could have shot it. It was with a cell phone. I had to light Mariah Carey, and they shot it with a cell phone, like the 12 Pro or something,
yeah.
and it looked good. It was fine. Um, but the answer to that is photography is still an art form,
Right.
and when Disney hires you, they don't care that you know how to operate a cell phone. They want lights, camera, action. They
They
want
want everything.
ratios. They want lighting. They have a $10,000 budget for lighting. Like, you need to know something. You need to know something. So I don't let that get to me like some people, because I know how to light. It's one of my most favorite things in the world to do, is to
Yeah.
light photography. So when I meet photographers, which I have, that don't know how to light their sets, I'm like, what now? Does that mean I want to go in at 7 a.m. and start lighting? No, I want to hire somebody. I want to set it up, but I
Yeah.
will, because I'm usually there helping. Sometimes a couple of my guys like to just go over there and talk to the client, or I'll
Yeah.
be in a corner dancing like I always do.
Yeah. Yes.
And and when we're ready to shoot, I'll look at it and adjust what I need to be adjusted. But photography is still an art form. That's what we have to remember. And it
Yeah.
doesn't matter how good these cell phones get. Um, you know, I guess it will matter in 15, 20 years, but for the time being, it doesn't matter, because you still have to know how to get clients. You still have to know how to take a decent picture with a real camera.
Right. Well, and even, you said you had to light a set for a camera yeah, of course. I mean, you still have all the professional lighting, and now you're
Mm-hmm.
just using a really good camera, which just happens to fit in your back pocket.
Right.
I
Right.
don't know how much easier it is to edit the pictures, or, if obviously if you shoot raw, you got a, much bigger format. So when
Right.
it comes to editing, I'm sure it's a little bit different, but do you do a lot of post editing when you have, your whole light setup, or is the idea for you when you snap the picture, it's perfect?
Oh no. So I can do very minimal Photoshop. Like, for whatever reason, I learned on like Photoshop 3 and 4 back in like 1998,
I'm
1999.
I'm I'm horrible with Photoshop. I
Yeah.
use Lightroom for everything.
There you go.
Yeah.
I can get some blemishes away. But what I realized is everything probably needs to be sent through that machine. So now I have a couple people that I'll send stuff to, and it's not overdone, but it definitely takes it from the camera, from the raw file to, oh, now that can be on Sunset Boulevard. That
Right.
can be my whole website. The new one was done basically by the same girl just because she rocks it out.
Yeah.
And she's cheap. But she takes the pictures from where they are to, wow, that's what I want to see.
Yeah.
And I wish I had the skill to do that. But the truth of the matter is, I don't want to sit in front of a computer doing that for 8 hours personally.
Dude,
it's too much life out here.
It's what I'm telling you. I can't stand it. I've gotten to the point. I like to edit the pictures because I was there, you know, especially if I'm doing a wedding, right? Like I know the moment, I know what happened. I want to edit it. I know the emotion of the situation, whatever, right? So there is part of me that doesn't want to let that go. But man, especially with all these kids running around, dude, like there's not very many hours. There's not very many hours in the day, you know. It's hard to sit down and edit. So
you have one more cup. You're gonna have another one, I think.
No, dude.
Come on, dude.
I got three. I know, three girls. That's a lot. When's my boy Tommy gonna find some love dude?
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the love triangle or the love angle in Los Angeles, which is I have a bunch of single friends, well-to-do, good-looking, decent money, decent lives, but it's a whole nother beast out here, man. It really, truly, honestly is, and not just for men. You know, I have a couple single female friends. That's like everybody's on their grind in Los Angeles.
It's really. Go ahead.
But it's really disheartening, and you really know it like during the holidays when you've spent so much time being on your grind, and then the holidays come around and you're alone, and nobody's invited you to dinner. Nobody invited you to to come trim the Christmas tree or whatever.
That's tough.
So it's tough because you realize you spent all this time not really developing true friendships. Now and relationships. Now that's obviously not, everybody all the time, but everybody, I've gone on a couple of dates. Everybody is like, okay, what do you do?
Yeah.
Like, how do you do it? Like if I was back home in South Carolina, I'd probably be, 240 pounds. I probably have 2 or 3 kids, and
that's why you got 240 pounds.
yeah, and be working at a high school shooting pictures. And I realized that when you sort of have this desire, like all of that stuff, you have to figure out if that's how you're going to take this lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I used to feel kind of unique and special, but lately I've been having conversations with different friends about it, and we're all having the same experience.
As far as what, like you kind of, not that you regret that you're in California trying to chase the dream or get the higher paying gigs or whatever,
right.
or is that it? I mean, do you feel like you kind of wish you just stayed home for the past how many years have you been in California?
96, 25 maybe?
Oh wow. So that's and we both just had birthdays.
That's right, dude. We're cancers. Maybe that's it.
That's it. You're July 3rd. I'm July 8th.
Come on, dude.
Come on.
It doesn't get much better than that. Come on, dude. Come on.
just a week.
Just a week.
Of course, you're a little older than me, but we won't talk about that.
Yeah, we ain't got to talk about that part. We ain't got to talk about that part.
You're still looking good.
Thank you. You too, man. 40. You're like, welcome to the 40s, dude. It's the best.
Really?
It's the best.
Yeah,
it's the best because just to piggyback on what you're talking about, like now I know the type of person I want in my life, and now I recognize instantly if that's you or not you. And I've had some duds in the last like 3 weeks. I keep complaining about to my friends. They're like, "Why are you bringing that?" And I'm like, "I know I'm not gonna text her again, but this is what happened."
Yeah,
and these are like dud rounds.
Like they're just after one thing or what? I mean, is that how you feel?
But everybody, it's like being at a party and talking to somebody, but you're constantly like looking to see who's going to come in to see if you want to go talk to them.
I've actually heard a lot of people say that, especially in the entertainment industry. It's all about what can you do for me, and if you can't do it for me, next. And then if you can do it better, next.
Next. And it's so funny. I just mentioned this. I went on a hike, and my friend hadn't seen La La Land, and there's a scene in that movie. Have you seen that movie?
No. I'm not.
You should watch
I barely watch movies, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, there's a scene in the movie where they're trying to get Emma Stone to go to this party, and the name of and this is big musical number, and the name of the number is there's someone in the crowd that might get you to where you want to be.
Got you.
You know, and that is the quintessential thought process of people out here that's been actors, actresses, photographers,
singers, you name it.
Comedians, musicians, magicians, like it's everything. You go to the parties to pass out cards and to see. I just said this on a hike. I said that's the only reason I go.
Yeah,
because you might meet somebody that can take you to where you actually are out here trying to get.
It's like a state of networkers.
Yes.
Right. Everyone's just networking. Everyone's just trying to find someone. Yeah, that's got to be tough. That's got to be exhausting. And it sounds like, you know, you and some of your friends are kind of getting to that point where it's like, this is exhausting. It's always every year it's a grind to make more money or to compete against XYZ or, you know, so that, I mean, is that the biggest challenge, especially being an independent photographer? Now, do you consider yourself independent or are you working for? Okay.
No, so I consider myself independent.
So you're strictly all on your own, right?
All on my own.
All your money comes on your back.
That's right. Every last cent.
I don't want to get too personal, but can you allude to that? Like how hard is it to make money doing what you're doing, and how are you making money? How are you making money off your book and all that? I would love to know.
Well, I haven't made money off my book yet because it's not out. But hopefully, when they come, they'll come with a really nice.
Let's go.
Advance. Hello, people. I've spent 10 years shooting this, and it's spent so much money. But you know, I have to say, I've been, you know, yes, we can always make more money, but I've been incredibly comfortable. And right at the pandemic, when the pandemic started last year, I was sitting in my house like everybody else, like, oh, dude, what am I going to do? I don't know what to do. Da, da, da. And then I got a call 2 weeks into it from a guy that's like, hey, Tommy, I need you to come take pictures of face masks for us. So I literally spent 5 months shooting face mask.
Oh my goodness.
And it was very, very lucrative. They gave me a great, I think it was like $375 a day. They gave me a great day rate. I paid off 3 credit cards.
Let's go.
It took a couple vacations. So and saved some and was able to continue my Roth IRA and put money all into the stock market and have a certain lifestyle.
Right.
Then I got, you know, the call from Disney, which was great. I shot the photo gallery for Raven Simone's show. I've shot a couple of movie posters for a couple of movies they have coming out. So just trying to take the moments where they are and meet them. And, you know, it's not what you make, it's what you keep. And I learned that lesson when I was like 20. You know,
that's what the military will teach you. Right. That's what the military will teach you.
100%. If I was picking cans and making $87 a day, you best believe I would have $5,000 saved by now.
It's so true, man. The more you make, the more you spend. Everyone says it. Everyone knows it. The more you make, the more you spend. I always say this. I got so many friends that make 3 times, 4 times as much money as me, and they probably have just as much in the bank. You know, now they have nicer houses, nicer cars, and possibly a boat, but still, you know, they're just.
Well, you can rent a boat. Yeah, you can rent a boat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I never prescribed to trying to keep up with the Joneses. I always just wanted to live my life the way I wanted to live it. And I have to say this because I said this, I couldn't imagine if I had a family to provide for. If I did, I would have to leave. So many people have left for a better quality of life for their families and their kids. They want the kids to grow up with grass in the front yard and with tire swings on the porch. And I get that. And if I had a kid, I would definitely have to make that sacrifice because I would not want to raise a kid in this town. I wouldn't.
So why are you there?
I'm here pursuing my career. And after my book comes out and do what it's going to do, I am actually going to be making a few decisions that maybe moving internationally to like Aruba. Maybe buy a condo in Aruba and you know, it's right off the coast. I can fly and be on the US and, you know, 2.5 hours.
That'd be nice.
But it's definitely something that I have thought about and I'm considering. You know,
man, that's exciting.
And we'll see.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that I because you know, LA is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, I don't love
Yeah.
Los Angeles. I love Southern California. I do not. I used to love LA. I don't love LA. I love Southern California. I love all the beach towns from Santa Barbara all the way to San Diego to the Mexican border. It's incredible. It's everything
Yeah.
that we ever saw about California. It
Right.
really
Right.
truly is. And I
Yeah.
take my bike and I really love it. But I don't love LA at all.
You love the scenery, you love the weather, you love,
Yeah.
you love, yeah, it's hard not to love all that. My cousin used to live in California, and I got another buddy that lives in California right now too. And I mean, it's
Yeah.
just, you just can't beat it. Just,
Have
the
you been?
weather and the scenery. No, I've never been. I'm waiting
Oh,
for my boy.
we'll change that.
I'm waiting for my boy Tommy to, find me a photo gig out there.
Yeah, yeah, yes.
Like, honey, I gotta go.
Absolutely.
Tommy called, and
Absolutely.
my wife absolutely loves you, so she would give me the
He
blessings
is
to.
the absolute first off, when I thanked you for putting that energy and that beauty in the world, I meant that, because as crazy as LA can be, I can sort of absorb and take account for what the things that matter.
Wow.
And from the first night that we all went to that party, dude, and we just had a blast. And
So much fun.
It was so much fun. I just knew that you guys were, the cream of the crop. And I've always appreciated that. And then you have these beautiful girls, and I'm just like, oh my God, that's incredible, dude. So
yeah,
but I've been telling you that for years.
Yeah,
you have an incredibly beautiful family, and you should feel incredibly lucky and blessed, because you are.
Well, I appreciate it. Anytime you leave a comment or heart something, it's like, I know you see us, and and vice versa. I see you doing things, and dude, I want you to have a family. I really do.
Listen,
I'm telling you, Tommy.
I just think I'll be an excellent dad.
You will. That's why I said it. That's why I said it.
I think so. Thank you very much. And it's not outside the realm of possibilities, because I always wondered, it's sort of have shifted in the last like 5 years. I'm like, oh, okay, do I need to create my own kid? I don't know if I need to do that. I would love that. My mom would love it. But I think it is the top blessing of all blessings to be able to be in the world twice. You do that through kids. Last year, through the Black Lives Matter movement and all that, all of my friends, because I was out there, all of my friends, non-Black, would call me and say, dude, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? And I said the same thing to every single one of them. I said, what you can do for me is teach your children better. That's it.
Yeah.
So to have the ability to be in the world twice, how can you not just appreciate that?
It is. And it completely changes you, because you see life. You see life again. You see now. I'm in a little different situation because I have female. So now I'm learning what it's like to be a female. And now it all makes sense.
You must know everything.
Yeah, now it all makes sense. They're just emotional, human beings, but they also melt you. Everyone loves, a woman, they're beautiful. They do. I mean, I see with my kids now, just certain things that they do, just helping, like, especially my middle child, God love her. She's always helping out with my younger child, and I just see those motherly instincts, already forming in my kids. And it's just, it makes the evolution of life just like, wow. I mean, it just, especially when you get older, right? It's just, you really start understanding life a little bit better. So
that's why I said 40s are the best. Because I didn't have this much money. I didn't have this much confidence. I didn't have this much like wherewithal. Now I know who's pulling my chain and who's not. And I'm confident enough to make decisions based on my perceptions. And I've never had that. I always tried to please everybody else and do what everybody else wanted and make people feel good. And that's still a part of me to a certain extent. But I put myself in that as well.
Right.
Like, what's if I'm mad at me and you're mad at me, what's the point in that?
Right. Exactly.
I'm not gonna be mad at myself. Both of us are not gonna be mad at me.
Yeah.
So excuse me. So that's been my way of handling all this stuff. So life is exciting, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it is, man. I did kind of want to touch on the Black Lives Matter movement and all that. I mean, obviously 2020 was just a crazy year
Oh my Lord.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. There were times where I'd maybe see you post something or whatever, and I had times where it's like, man, I really like to. I should call him and just talk
Yeah.
to him about what all is going on, because that's how we learn, right? I mean,
That's how we learn.
yeah, I've got some other friends. I actually do a podcast with one of them that he's black as well, and we would talk about it and try to understand each other's perspectives on it and all that. I don't even know where to start with it, but talk about the Black Lives Movement and what it means to you, and
Yeah.
and maybe why you supported it.
Yeah. So let me start off by saying this. You are my brother.
Mm-hmm.
And when I see you, and this is obviously when you first meet somebody, you say, oh, that's a white gentleman, early 20s. But when you get to know somebody, for me, like all that dissipates.
Amen.
I know you as a personality and a great spirit, and that shines through more than anything else. And
it doesn't
that's
matter the color.
A lot of my friends. Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, wait, you're not black?
Yeah. Why didn't you tell me?
wait, what are you talking? What? Where the hell have I been? So the movement for me, and it when it started. Okay, so let me just go back. I actually marched, I think, in 2014, right after Trayvon Martin was killed, because I thought that was a huge injustice, and I thought that it wasn't catching on enough. And we all know the implications behind what happened with him and how that sort of came to be, and then ultimately what happened when that trial was over. So I was irritated and annoyed because it almost seemed like, okay, here's a license to do this, and your defense can be, I felt threatened. Okay, well, feeling threatened and being threatened is not the same thing. So that was my thing. It's like, feeling threatened and being threatened are two completely different things. So let's start there. So when the thing happened with George Floyd, a friend of mine, a white friend of mine, goes, hey, it was right down the street, and it was like Kuwait. He goes, hey, are you going to go protest? I said, I'm not. I said, I'm not going to go protest because I've protested. We need more than just marching in the streets. He goes, well, just walk down here with me. I said, dude, it's going to be a handful of people. My voice isn't enough. More needs to be done. And then we walked down there, and I was like, what?
Really?
Like, I could not. It was like Kuwait.
It was like Kuwait. It was like the moment where people.
Oh, dude! It was police cars lined up, and they had walked off. So all the police cars were damaged and burned, and they overturned buses, which I was not a fan of at all. I was not a fan of. And then they set a police car on the side of a gas station. I'm like, okay, now all of us are gonna get blown up because of this ignorance. I don't understand that. But what really bothered me was that was sort of being in tandem pointed to as people fighting for Black Lives Matter. But the people really marching, were holding rallies, saying, don't be violent, we're not tearing anything up. That's not how we're going to get anything done. So it was these rogue sort of people. Even people we were walking up Melrose, and guys would just walk in the stores and grab racks of clothes and just drop in the middle of the street. And I'm like, dude, we're not here for that. And a lot of people would say, dude, that's not what we're out here for.
Right.
Like, what are you doing? How is that going to help? That's going to make all of us look crazy on the 6 o'clock news. So why are you doing that? I didn't understand it. So what happened was, that's why all these lockdowns happened. So what happened was, you start to filter those people out, and then the movement can actually do what it needs to do and start. I learned so much, and I wanted my voice to be out there because police have so much control over us.
Right.
And you and I probably have more education than is required to be a cop. I didn't know that. I didn't know that cops do not need to know the law in order to be cops. So my thing was, let's get an associate's degree going to be a cop. Let's get some classes happening. Let's get some domestic violence, some proper training. Like what happened with me once. This happened to me maybe 2 years ago. I flew to North Carolina, and I rented a car because I'm from South Carolina, and I usually fly to Charlotte, and I'll drive across the border. And I get my rental car, and I got my podcast going, and I'm driving, and I get pulled over by this cop. The cop must be 27 years old. So already I am a little bit older than that. So I'm like, okay. And he says to me, he goes, "Hey, your headlights aren't on." I'm like, I live in LA and my headlights come on automatically when I turn the car on. So I'm sorry, but here's my ticket. I literally just landed, but you can run. And he's really nervous. And I can tell that he's uncomfortable. And to
Right.
the point where I was getting nervous. And I said, "Dude, listen, I've done every single thing you asked. I'm being really cooperative, but now you're making me nervous. If you feel like you need to get a supervisor out here or something, like, please do that, because I don't
Yeah.
want to get hurt. I don't want you to get hurt. And I don't want to feel like this has become abrasive over me not turning my headlights on. You can give me a ticket. You
Right.
can take the key to the car." So what I realized is that he probably didn't have proper training, and he probably was responding to what he thought I was, or who he thought I was, or what reaction he thought I might have.
Right.
And that is what has to change. Because I have Black brothers, I have Black nephews, I have Black cousins, and I don't want somebody misinterpreting an action as disrespect or hostile or a situation to feel threatened in.
So, oh man. So what sounds like the issue is that is it just simply the encounters? Is it because I said there, okay, all right, let me start over. I've got
Yeah,
multiple friends that are Black, right? And that
yeah,
one guy that's mixed, and they've told me
yeah.
about the racism that's happened in their life. And I can't believe it because they're such nice people, right?
Yes,
So,
yes.
so to me, a 26-year-old cop, he's fresh, right?
Mm-hmm,
He approaches a car, it's a Black man. I
mm-hmm.
know you. I know how you speak to people. You're military for
Right,
crying out loud. I know there's
right,
no way you would have said anything to, make this guy feel nervous. So
right.
you really, I mean, is it really just boiled down to you think these encounters happen just because of your skin tone and just because of maybe maybe it's this is kind of what I want to get at.
Yeah.
Do you think it happens
Mm-hmm,
because these officers encounter so many situations that do go bad,
mm-hmm,
and maybe it so happens to be a Black person, to where they
mm-hmm.
are on edge? No different if it was a Hispanic or Filipino, whatever, right? But
Right.
I'll be honest, it does seem like the Blacks get the bad rap when it comes to this, So
Right.
I mean, I know that's kind of a long-winded question, I guess, but hopefully you got
Yeah.
what I was trying to say.
Yeah. So I think it's a combination of things, right? I think that I think that Black cops don't have that fear when they stop Black people. So I think that and Black people can shoot Black cops, and they can be nasty and abrasive towards Black cops, but that extra anxiety of, oh my God, something might happen, doesn't seem to be as prevalent, because it's because you understand the community, if you will. Now, if this was happening in a vacuum, you wouldn't just keep seeing it happen in one direction. You would see Black cops shooting white kids for no reason. You would see Asian cops shooting Hispanic kids for no reason. But we don't keep seeing that. We keep seeing it in one direction. So what has to be the catalyst for this is people's expectations about what might happen. There's a great quote that I said that says, the burden of the brutalized is to not protect the bystander. Like, you have to be in a position where you can see this and understand what's happening. Because
Mm,
I can't really completely explain it to you. All I know is people shouldn't be shot for having iced tea and a bag of Skittles,
right.
or a fake gun. You can't kill Tamir Rice at 12 years old for having a cap gun, and not kill Dylan Roof, who had murdered 9 people, and then take him to Burger King.
Yeah.
So it's this really big push and fight to sort of understand why it is. And I've actually talked to cops. I have video of me talking to cops. Cause I'm like, listen, I don't want to be abrasive. I don't want to be nasty. I have a really good friend who's a cop who thinks that I think that all Black people are innocent. I said, I didn't say that. I never said that because I don't believe that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do know that you told me to believe in the system my whole life where people are innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
Number one. And so and I know that cops shouldn't be judge, jurors, and executioners all within like 3 minutes.
Right.
Like that shouldn't happen either.
Yeah.
So
the system needs a shake.
The system needs a shake up.
Yeah.
And if you can't get guys out there that understand that, then they shouldn't be out on the beat.
Right.
They shouldn't be on the beat. I'm not on the beat because I can't handle it. And I wouldn't want to do it ever.
Let me ask you this. Should those that have gone through military be the only ones able to be a police officer?
No, I don't believe that. I am not a defund police person. I am not. I think that we need police, obviously, and I think that we need good police. I got a perfect example for you. Some of these cops, the mentality is no different than the gangs in Los Angeles, and I'm going to explain that. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember when the 75-year-old man like got pushed down and he cracked his head. It was a whole squad of police.
Yeah, I think I heard about that.
He was bleeding, and they kept walking. One cop stayed and got him sort of suited up, and they said he was even hostile before we saw the video. And then we saw the video, and then we saw where he had been shoved down and pushed. But everybody on that squad quit their job behind doing the wrong thing. That's no different than the Bloods and Crips in Los Angeles.
Right.
Like you're protecting somebody for doing the absolute wrong thing because you lied about it.
Right.
Now, everybody questions the trustworthiness of the cops. And that's only because you keep putting yourself in this position where you are falsifying documents and you lying, but somebody had a video and now we see the difference.
Right.
I try really hard, man. I try really hard to be in a world where I see people for who they are, and if you haven't done anything to me, then you're cool with me, and all that. But I have to say, I get a little nervous if a cop gets behind me and I'm like, oh my God, is my insurance paid? Yeah, my insurance paid. Do I have a warrant for my arrest? Like, is my tail light out? Like, what?
It's sad. It's so sad.
And it's sad. And I understand not having that. I was in the Roxy last week talking about my book, or the week before last, talking about my book with a potential investor. And I said, I can tell you every single thing I did yesterday, the day before, and the day before that, because I have no idea when I'm going to be walking down my street and get stopped because I fit the description of somebody that's being looked for.
Really?
So now I have to account for my time. I'm like going Trader Joe's. I went there at 7:00 last night and I bought A, B, C, and D. Because and that's just innately in me.
And that's the issue, right? That's the issue as a Black man. I don't think about that. I don't think about where I was, and you shouldn't have to think about that. And I think, and I'm speaking for you now, I think that's if people don't get it, if white people don't get it, or whoever don't get it, I think that's the core of it. And look, I've had to learn through this process, right? Because like you said earlier, the whole rioting thing, it just pisses me off. Now, protesting, and listen, guys, we want to be heard. Like, let me talk to this officer. Let me talk to these white people. Let me talk to these business. Like, let me build these relationships. Like, let the color be removed from me and just see my spirit, like you mentioned earlier, and I think that's, like you said, it's the robbing and it's tipping the cars over. It's that just looks.
It does. It looks horrific.
It doesn't matter what color you are. Like nobody, like I know as knowing you, as I do, if you're out on those streets, you're not there to do harm. You're there to bring love. You're there to bring, hopefully a solution, or like, hey, I'm here. I'm standing with my other brothers and sisters. We want to change. We're not perfect. Our culture is not perfect. Our culture needs to improve in certain things. All cultures do, right? There's plenty. Listen, I always say it, and I hate to say it. A lot of these mass shootings are white people. That's an issue. whether if it's mental health issues or whatever's happening,
Right.
to where they're getting their hands on these crazy weapons.
Crazy.
There's a flaw. There is a flaw. It's been proven there's a flaw in the system. So we got to fix it, So
Yeah.
listen, man, 2020 was hell. It was tough,
It
and then
it was crazy.
and you throw the politics in it, you throw the virus in it, you throw the riots in it. Like it's amazing we even got through it together as a country, and
right.
And some of it's obviously still lingering, but I really do pray that there is just this connection between just all the races that we just I mean, it sounds silly, I know there's this it's like the Black Lives Matter, right? And then it was this like thing where it's like people would say all lives matter, and then it's like you weren't allowed to say that, but it's like in the end, it's like that's what we're doing though. We're trying to get all lives to matter. We're trying to respect women more. We're trying to, even the whole Asian hate now, and then obviously the black, it's ridiculous. Like that is what we're trying to do. So
I saw a sign that said, if the guy held up that said, if all lives matter, we wouldn't be here. So, and yes, I think we definitely want to get to that point. And I think that we saw some backlash from the Black Lives Matter movement, how incredibly it was like worldwide. Right. So when it first happened, I was like, okay, this is and then it got politicized, and then it got, everybody wanted to focus on those crazy riots and the fires and all that. It's just ironic to me that every single thing happened simultaneously in different spots. Like it's like the zeitgeist. Everybody was having the same experience, be it Milwaukee, be it Florida, be it Washington State, Los Angeles, Montana. Like things burned down all over the place. I know that's not right at all. But what's the implication behind that? What's the implication? Like I'm like, if you're gonna hit a camera store, let me know. I'm kidding.
yeah. I could use a new 70 to 200.
Y'all, look at that building right there. Let's go. I'm kidding. I'm just saying, you gotta laugh. You gotta find humor in some of this stuff. But
for sure, man.
I'm just saying, the implication is let's all figure out a way to make this thing work. We're not going anywhere. You ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere. We're all going to be here. And I want a better place for your children and your grandchildren to be a part of. I want that. Yeah. And yet again, another generation. How old is your youngest daughter?
4.
Right. So yet again, a whole nother generation of a 4-year-old is coming into a world where she has to witness racial tension. That's crazy to me.
It is. Yeah, you're right.
In 2021, another generation, 4 years old, is now having to deal with that. That's insane. We have to do better. Yeah, we have got to do better.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, and I and unfortunately, the negative of everything that's good is always going to shine.
100%.
Right, because and look, and I've heard from multiple sources how the Black Lives Matter, they represent this and they're not all for good and they're not right. But it's like, I just always took it with a grain of salt. Like, I know there are people in that mix. And honestly, that's before me really knowing you were marching or whatever. Right. I know not everybody's in there to destroy. I know that, that's just kind of what I took from everything. It was just like, I've always felt like I've had good relationships with Black folks or whatever, because I've just treated them just like anybody else, right. But I guess I didn't really understand, like you said, I got to keep track of every place I've been just in case I get questioned. It's those little things. It's oh God, there's a cop behind me. Am I going to get pulled over? Like that. I mean, that should not be. And especially it's crazy because it seems to be just one race.
Well, I think there was a response. Like, Black Lives Matter never needed a response. There was no response. It wasn't a call for a response from anybody verbally. And then some people started responding with a certain term. So that now made it politicized. that politicized it. But the thing that broke my heart, and I sat on my couch and I cried about Ahmaud Arbery. I cried about somebody I'd never met, a stranger, because I am a runner and I run, and I cried because that shouldn't have happened. I cried about the lieutenant that was what do you call it, maced at the gas station in his army fatigues, no less. And it's like, what can you do to let this person know that my life is worthy to go home? Like, my life is worthy for me to go to my kids, to my dog, to my family. My life is worth that.
Right.
And I'm in this situation where it seems like no matter what I do, I can't talk, I can get maced in the face, I can't go for my eyes, and then you can get, it's deafening, dude. It's deafening.
Yeah. Now, I almost don't even like asking this, but
you ask me anything you want.
How much of that do you think is just the media, to where every time there is a situation where, you know, it comes off like it's a wrongdoing by a cop, it gets pushed in our face to where it looks like all these horrific things are happening, but in all reality, obviously, you know, it's whatever they want to show us, right? I mean, look, there's been some incidents where, you know, unfortunately, someone's lost their life or whatever, and sometimes you can see the whole video and you're just like, man, like, he had so many opportunities to just stop, you know. So and just like you as a pedestrian or whatever wants to go home, obviously the cop wants to go home, you know. And God, dude, it's just hard, you know. It's just hard because
it's hard, but you know, these conversations, this is what we need to have these conversations.
I agree,
because it's so listen, I just told you I have a cop friend. I'm like, no, I don't think all Black people are innocent. I really don't. I have uncles. I know they're not. But if, you know, let's take, for instance, the guy that was shot in the Wendy's drive-thru or something in Atlanta. Like, he was shot running away. He had his car. You can get a warrant for his arrest and go get him in 2 days. I don't understand. Now he's three kids here that won't have a father growing up.
Right.
And then people want to say, well, you know, the Black fathers aren't in the homes. And okay, well, but you keep killing Black fathers. Nobody had an issue with that when Black fathers were being auctioned off on auction blocks away from their families. So it's all this implication, and it's all this pathology. It really, truly, honestly is. And that's what I think the movement is about. It's like recognizing that this was an implication that we all have to recognize. We all have to figure out how to get past. And stop trying to label everything, because you know what happens when you label things? Somebody's going to come and say, oh, you know what? Yeah, you labeled that, but remember this happened in 1863. And as a result, we're seeing, so yes, we can all sit and point fingers all day long, but the truth of the matter is, let's understand it, let's call it what it is, and let's try to do better.
Yeah.
That's all we can do.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope. I mean, I don't know, dude. I just found myself, I just had to turn it all off. It was just too
it was
much.
a lot.
It was too much. Because like, man, you know, I say this all the time, but it's like I feel like I don't even know what the truth is.
Yeah.
Right. Like I don't know what source to go to. Everyone's got an agenda. Everyone's getting paid off. Everyone is, you know, controlled by somebody, it seems like. And it's just like you just kind of seeking for the truth, the facts. Like how look, I say this all the time, man. My kids don't play in the front yard.
Yeah, it's
because
terrible.
we are afraid someone's going to just come take them. Tommy, you played in the front yard. I guarantee it. I played in the park. I was gone. Be home by midnight, right? Or not midnight. Yeah. My parents didn't care.
They're like midnight.
Yeah. I
was about 2 a.m.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, we drank out of the spigot. We didn't run in the house to get water. You turn the spigot on and you drank water out of the hose.
Just stay outside.
That weird taste in the beginning, and then or you did that. Yeah. I grew up. That kind of breaks my heart, because that's too much.
It is. Well, and look, I think part of it is the fear of us parents putting it on the kids, you know, because even my daughters will say, I can't go outside without you guys out there. And I'm just like, dude, we're on a cul-de-sac. We know our neighbors. Like, I
Yeah.
hate the fact there's cameras on every house,
Everywhere. That's right.
everywhere. But we have this fear, and I know it's because of media, because we hear of so many of these stories, to where it's putting us all in this little like, well, I can't trust. I was talking to some buddies the other day. It's like, man, this still breaks my heart. It still breaks my heart.
Mm.
There was it happened to be a black lady and her son, and I pulled up to a stop sign, and she was mentioning something to me. I couldn't understand what she was saying, and then I rolled down my window, and she goes, "Do you have any money?" And typical answer, "No, I don't. I'm sorry, I don't have any cash." Right? Because I thought she
Right.
was just trying to bum some money off of me.
Right.
And then I saw she had a son, and then like I drove away, and I just immediately was just like, you idiot. Like, I don't even know if I had cash on me, but do something. Like, just do something, But it's this
Yeah.
like fear I had in me of like, is this lady just going to take advantage of me? Is she using her son as a ploy? And it's
Yeah.
this, I don't know, man. Like, it's like this human nature of me, my niceness, wants to
Yeah.
help everyone, but it's like, am I helping?
Well, listen, I've experienced that. I saw a guy with a kitten the other day. I'm like, dude, give me that damn cat.
I know.
Like, because he was like a homeless guy. I'm like, dude, give me that cat. Like, you don't need that cat. And I won't give anybody any money, but I will. But I don't care who you are, what you look like, what color you are. If you ask me for food, I will stop what I'm doing and buy somebody a meal. Because who am I to not? I won't give you money, but I will walk you into, In-N-Out Burger and get you a double with some fries and a milkshake and all that. Because but for the grace of God, there go I. And I recognize how blessed I am. So, and I question it too. I question, is this, money? No, I don't have money. If you want food, I'll get you a loaf of bread.
Right.
But I just, you can pick cans if you want to, just money. But I think that it's healthy that you drive away and have those emotional thoughts, because that means that you are aware and you're struggling with, am I doing the right thing, or am I being taken advantage of? And that is not overrated at all.
Yeah.
And it's not racist, and it's not all that nonsense. And I think when you're talking about the media, I think the media has really thrown into question what some of this stuff means, which is why I stopped with it a long time ago. I stopped responding to people's posts. I stopped reading.
It's too much, Tommy. It's too much.
It's too much. I've lost friends over it. And I was just like, I did not, and people I was in the military with, I'm like, you misread what I was trying to say. And maybe I misread what you were trying to say, but I'm willing to have a conversation if you want to talk about it.
Right.
And we got so tribal. The only thing we really know how to do in this country really well is get tribal and go retreat to our corners and say, I'm not talking to you because you support this, or you're over here, or you over here. And I just got really tired of that in 2020. I got really tired of it. Really tired.
How do I want to ask this? Is the cultural thing just always going to be there, where you're always going to feel a little bit more comfortable, like in your culture, right? Like around people that are like you, look like you, act like you, right? I kind of wonder like how that ties in with what may be perceived racism or just not fair. I always use this as an example. If you're an owner of a business and you're white, and you have 10 people show up that are white to interview and 2 of them are black, right? The chances are your percentage is 20% there, right? So that's an issue in itself, but you're also more than likely going to hire someone that is potentially the same culture, same beliefs, same whatever from you. To me, that's not racism, that's culturism. if anything. Do you agree?
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think that,
but let me add this, but that leads to a problem. And this is probably where a lot of you blacks are vocal, to where we need to have more business owners, because that is an issue. It's, if we had more business owners, then we could hire more people in our culture, therefore better their lives and progress, get them from being poor and doing crime and selling drugs. Right. And you make better neighborhoods.
So that goes back to like the Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre, right? And
Right.
every time Black people branched off and started businesses and was thriving, the good old boys would show up and burn it to the ground. And that happened countless times. Because the implication is, God, if we support that, then we lose power over them. That's been the implication since forever. So Black people really couldn't have anything. So it's quite a discerning notion to say, oh, now we have to keep you, because we had to survive. You have to
Right.
survive. You have to survive the way you know how. And America's really good in its ideals. Its
Mm-hmm.
ideals, IDALS. That's spelled right.
Mm.
IDEALS. Ideals, but rarely does she want to sit and discuss and figure out how to make those ideals a reality. Because when I stood up for 18 years and said liberty and justice for all, I believe that.
Right.
I believe that. So why now, because I'm asking for that, the thing that you wanted me to believe in, am I wrong?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
It says liberty and justice for all. That's not hard.
Right.
That's not
Right.
hard at all.
Right.
So when people recognize that's not happening and they question authority, then like why is that bad? I
Right.
read somebody had a sign that said racism is so American that when you protest it, people think you're protesting America.
Oh wow.
And like, listen at the words of that. And it's like, Black Lives Matter. You could have been out there next to me. I saw that one of the reasons I started doing it is because I saw Asians, I saw whites, I saw Blacks, I saw Hispanics, I saw Mongolians. I was like, everybody's tired. Everybody wants this thing to move forward. And of course, the negativity outshines. And it started in LA, it was really rough. And then it sort of, because even the people setting up the rallies were like, listen, we're not having that tonight. There's going to be no buildings broken into. There's no windows being broken. We are here for a movement. And as long as we are
Right.
here acting like that, nobody's going to take us seriously.
Yeah.
And I know that sort of became the narrative eventually, like that's some rogue group doing that. And it shouldn't overshadow what we are trying to accomplish, although it did a lot. And but you have to stay the course, I
Yeah.
suppose. So I set out to educate myself and educate anybody under the sound of my voice about my perspective, about things that I had experienced. I went back and listened to a lot of James Baldwin. I had to get rid of the notions that I was lazy and didn't want to work and just wanted to sell drugs and just wanted to make babies and didn't want to raise them.
Wow.
Everything that we have been told about ourselves, because that was the quickest, easiest narrative. And recognize, so it's on me to tell my nieces and my nephews, no, you can do and be what you want to be. Don't listen to that, because it's
Right.
all over the TVs, it's all over advertising, it's all over everything. The
Right.
black doll test. Are you familiar with the black doll test?
Uh-uh.
So it's this really, I was about to say this really cool test. It's actually not a cool test. It was done I think it was done in the 50s, where they had a white doll and a black doll. And they would set Black kids in front of each doll. And they would ask Black kids, hey, pick the doll that you think is the smartest. They go for the white doll. Pick the doll that you think is the most well-behaved. And they go for the white doll. And pick the doll that you think is the prettiest. They go for
Right.
the white doll. And they say, now pick the doll that looks like you. And that's all about imagery.
Right.
And then they go, because they realize they have just thrown
Oh.
themselves under the bus
Right.
because of perceptions. There's
Right.
another study that was just done, I think a year ago, where it was teachers. These are full-on adults. They were watching. It was 4 kids at a desk. It was a Black kid, 2 white kids, and I think a Hispanic kid. And they told the teachers, "Oh, we're gonna be on the lookout. Just we want you to look for bad behavior." But they were monitoring the eyes of the teachers watching, and all of the teachers, even the Black ones, were watching the Black kid to mess up. mostly.
Oh
So
man.
all of that is about, and he's 5. So the
Right.
world is already, so does he deserve that? That's not going to change when he leaves that study.
Right.
That's the world he's going into. So I think when you talk about people being comfortable around their own cultures and all that, I think that that's truth, because listen, I went to school in Santa Barbara. I was
Hmm.
one of like 2 Black kids in the whole school. I didn't have a choice. I found myself often in situations where I didn't have a choice. I can't be uncomfortable completely across the board. I would never
Right.
work. If I was just waiting on Black people to hire me, I would never work.
Right. Right.
You
So you had to
know,
build
if I
those
was,
relationships.
you have
Yeah.
to build those relationships. If I was just waiting to go to parties that only had Black people, I would be in the house all the
Yeah.
time.
You'd be partying by
So
yourself.
I'd be partying by myself with some Red Bull and vodka. Um,
Let's go.
so I don't have a choice. I don't have time to sit and wonder about how it could be. It is what it is, and I
Yeah.
have to decide to move accordingly.
So let me ask you this. What, and of course, you don't have all
Excuse
the
me.
answers, but what, being obviously a
Says
white
who?
guy.
I'm
I
kidding.
know, right? Yeah. How dare you?
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, obviously, being white, being a part of the white community or whatever, what would you say, the Black community is looking from us? Because let's be honest,
Yeah.
there does seem to be a pretty big bullseye on the white community right now. I mean, for some past sins, for some past whatever,
Hmm.
whatever's happened in the past, some of it's hundreds of years ago, but still,
Right.
that's your great grandma
Right.
or
Yeah. Right.
whoever, right? That's still very, very close where, a lot of bad things happen or whatever. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think you got my question. How can we help, I guess?
Well, um, so what I think what would help a lot is not sending Black kids to elementary schools called Robert E. Lee. Like, let's start with that. Like, okay, let's
I,
start with that's no different from sending Jewish kids to Adolf Hitler Elementary. Like, why
okay.
is it different? Robert E. Lee was Thomas Jefferson was a horrible racist that beat and raped his slaves like continuously.
Right.
Um, and he's on my money.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's streets named after him. And it's not the quickest fix ever, but it could start the mending of, we recognize that isn't right. Or, the Confederates fought against the Union. They were anti-American and they lost. And then you have people say, "Oh, it's my heritage," and I understand that, but they lost. When's the last time you ran down the street after the Super Bowl screaming and yelling for the team that lost?
Right.
and,
Right.
and,
Right.
and if you did that, people would look at you like you were plumb crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So it's things like that. Like, put it in a museum. That way, if people want to go see it, they can. That way, if I don't want to see it, I was in Florida and I was driving down the freeway, and these guys with these Confederate flags. I didn't know what the Confederate flag meant. The first time I remember ever seeing one and attaching a negative connotation to it, I was in the car with my mother, my grandmother, and some cousins, and we were driving in the deep South, and we had pulled into a yard because we had gotten lost, and the truck had a Confederate flag on it. And I remember my family saying, "Oh my God, let's get out of here." And I didn't
Right.
know. I
Oh
didn't know what
wow.
that meant. I didn't know what that was for. I was 8, 9 years old. I didn't get it. It was the same flag, by the way, on the General Lee that I loved.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That was
nobody
in
told
movie
me,
or in
yeah,
shows and
and
yeah.
nobody told me that it was sort of anti-me. And more, they fought to keep the slaves, obviously, but more so than that, like, they lost the war.
Right.
That's what I'm most confused about. Is like when did we start celebrating for so long those lost? And it wasn't even that long. It's like, I think the Confederate was like maybe 5 years or something like that. I don't know. But to not send, to go back to your original question, to not send little Black kids to schools called Robert E. Lee, to not have to buy a house on Robert E. Lee Parkway or Thomas Jefferson Boulevard. And
So it's more of recognizing, you can recognize the past, but recognize that there was some evil and some wrongdoings in it. So the removing of a statue, or like you said, a school, that is, to you, it's not about removing the history, it's about removing what that represented,
The
and
symbolism.
to teach the next generations that we don't stand behind someone that treated people like that, no matter how long it was ago it
Right.
was, right? Like, it doesn't, if it was 10 years ago or 300 years ago, like that's
Right.
not love. That's not how we act, as people or whatever.
As people, that's not going to get us. That's not going to get us where we ultimately need to be. And I absolutely 100% believe that. The same way I believe if Malcolm X Middle School popped up somewhere, I think people would have the right to say, I don't want my kid to go there,
Right.
white, black, or otherwise, because of the
Right.
implications. And then all of a
Right.
sudden, everybody would understand, oh my God, yeah, Malcolm X was really extreme in this direction. I'll say, it's like, okay, take that same sentiment
Yeah.
and add it to, or, erect a statue of Malcolm X in downtown Minnesota.
Right.
I understand why that would be, off-putting to some people.
Right.
But people don't seem to understand why it's off-putting to Black people that Robert E. Lee has a statue. And, so when that whole thing was happening with him, and I went to basic training on Fort Benning, Georgia. That's named after Confederate.
Right.
So did I know? No, I didn't know. When I learned, did I feel like I had the right to know? Yes, I did feel like I had the right to learn. I didn't get mad because somebody told me to get mad. I wasn't even mad about it. I thought, it'd be really cool if they found some real American heroes and named some of these base after, Black, white, or otherwise, that, really fought for the betterment of this country we all love so much.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
That's all we're asking for, right?
That's all we're asking for. Like, why
Yeah.
is that an issue?
Yeah.
And I just got so tired. I got so tired of talking about it. And I got so tired of explaining it. And I got so tired.
You were active. I was there
I
for a
was very
while. I was
active.
like, Tommy
Tommy's gonna get hit with
he-
the baton.
I was like, I hope Tommy's still with me. No, I'm just
Yes.
kidding. No. But once again, though, like, seeing that passion come out of you and that frustration and maybe some of the anger or whatever, that has to shake me, right? That has to shake all of us. There's got to be a part of you that says, okay, look, dude, I love the NBA. Freaking love it. It's like my favorite sport.
I know you
right?
do. I know you do. I know you
but
do.
It became a product where it's just like, I'm not even watching basketball anymore.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like it was such, like, I just want my basketball, like,
Right.
I get it. But then, man, I say that, but I also say, I guess I don't get it, because like, I don't know, man. I have so many emotions with all of this, because I'm simple, man. I just want us all to get along. I just, I don't get it. Yeah. I don't get how
it got so twisted.
Yes.
Because really
now, here's the thing, because now everything is racism, that we are ignoring what racism is. It is how do you say, it's diluted what the word racism is, right? Like, you make a slight off-color joke, now you're labeled as a racist and you're canceled and you're out of Hollywood or whatever. It just, I don't know what you think about that. I mean, has that gotten too extreme, the woke culture?
Well, oh my God, you brought that word. So I've had these conversations ad nauseum with a few people, and so I really hate the demonization of words, right? And I think the word woke has been completely demonized. And to me, what it means is, because now it's all over Capitol Hill, it's always on the Senate floor, everybody's saying woke, 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 woke. Kind of like what happened to Black Lives Matter, where it became like this rally for like terrorism almost.
Right.
Which I was on the ground, I'm like, I have no idea where that came from, and I have no idea why it became that. But like I said to you about 17 minutes ago, all we know how to do is be tribal in this country and
Yeah.
run to your corner, I'll run to mine. Now, the word woke, what's irritating, so what woke means to me is things used to be different, and people could do things and get away with things and nobody said anything about it.
Right.
Now, I can watch the movie Airplane or Blazing Saddles, and if I find lines in that movie to be offensive, I have the right to feel that way, even though in the 70s when they were done, everybody just sort of skirted it off because there was no, Black people didn't have power. They didn't have power in their voices, didn't have power in their cultures. They didn't have power. They could be the butt of jokes.
Right.
And now I recognize I don't just have to be the butt of jokes. So now when I see all these politicians saying woke, 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 to me, it's just the way of them saying, I need you to shut up and stop bringing it up and stop talking about it.
Gotcha.
Because it's not against anything or anybody. It's just saying that your 4-year-old and my 5-year-old nephew, if they saw something that they didn't recognize as racist or not, and it was, then somebody could say, oh, his nephew may not like that. I don't understand what's wrong with being sensitive to like a racial joke. And listen, like I said, I've been the only Black guy in a lot of situations where I was the end of a racially insensitive joke. And oh my God, Tommy, you get too sensitive about race. And I said, yes, because you don't have to. Yeah. So now you're mad because I'm taking offense to something that nobody laughs more than me, dude. I love to laugh, but let it be a good, funny joke. It doesn't have to come on the end of, this thing that I had nothing to do with, by the way.
Right.
I had nothing to do with this.
Right.
So let's tell some jokes that are really, really funny.
Right.
And and I have a couple white friends now that, they make jokes and we laugh because I know where their heart is and know where they're coming from. But I always say, just so you know, I don't call me if you say it to the next guy who may not have the same reaction.
Yeah. You better know your crowd before you crack.
So just know your crowd, just know your audience, and go for it. It's So that's when I hear the word woke, now that's what I realize has happened to it. It doesn't have to be a bad word. It doesn't have to be something that we all shy away from, and it's been demonized. But and in 3 months it's going to be something else. Yeah. Because instead of the people that are leading us really figuring out a way to get us all on the same page and to get us going together, they are very good at coming up with ways to separate us, even by 4-letter words that don't really mean anything. Right. That's what I gather from it. And I was just like, God, it's really, really unfortunate. The only time I really feel true camaraderie is when a tragedy happens. Like 9/11, everybody walked around and was hugging each other, and the American flag was everywhere. And we weren't tribal. We all supported one another. Yeah. And it sucks that something so tragic has to happen to feel that.
But then again, we just had something somewhat tragic happen in the pandemic, and all we did was turn against each other. Well, in a way, right? Because I mean, some of us came together, but then it was all this. Well, which it became so political. That's the bottom line. It just became so political.
And so, right. Which I was once again shocked, because it was something comforting about knowing that everybody that you knew was going through the exact same thing you were. Because that's so rare. Like I was in my house, you were in your house, my mom was in her house, people in New York, all of us were stuck in the house. And there was something. So when we were coming out of this pandemic, I was like, God, that sucks that we all are gonna go back to our corners and become tribal again. Because there's something comforting about the camaraderie of going through the exact same thing at the same time. Yep. I think I was suffering a little bit of depression because of it. And I didn't want to do that because I wanted everything to be open, and I wanted all of us to go back to work and make money and all that. But what if the pandemic taught us anything is that the most important things in life aren't things.
Right.
You know, it's time with your family. It's getting to know us. I learned how to cook some stuff.
Yeah.
And I had a phone. I could talk to people, and
Yeah.
and I caught up on a bunch of 80s movies. So I just, and then at the first chance, people just started demonizing. And then the mask got demonized. I was just like, oh my God. That's why I said to you, when I leave here, I'm going to Aruba just because I'm over it. I'm over it.
Are you over
I'm over
just
it.
the mask and the rules and all that, or
I'm
what?
I'm over the divisiveness of the nature of Americans.
Yeah.
And how easy it is. And I've talked to people in Australia, I've talked to people in Indonesia, I've talked to people in Spain, and they are flabbergasted at how divisive we have become or can become as Americans. Because in their brain, we're all just the same. We're all Americans. But it's really sad to hear them say, God, like, dude, what the hell is going on over there?
What's wrong with you guys? Why can't you get your stuff together?
What is it? And I'm like, I don't know.
And it's so weird because it's like you would think social media would be a good thing because it just allows us all to talk and it allows us all to discuss things. But what happens is that it becomes a thread written in words, whether it's on Twitter or Facebook or what have you, and it doesn't become this or an interaction or hey, let's go grab some coffee and let's talk about it. You know, we're friends, we're cool. Right. You have your perspective, I have mine. We can agree to disagree, like, you know, but let's just talk it out. Or let's just not talk about it. Yeah, let's just not talk about it because I liked you. Too. Yeah, I liked you before this all became an issue.
That's an option too. You know, like I said, I lost some friends over perspectives, and I was just like, you know, I never expected that. People I've known for 20 years, and you know, my roommate from the Army, who I love like a brother, I guess we're still friends. If I texted him, you know, I'm sure we could talk. But it was
call him out of the blue, man.
It's just disheartening. Yeah, it's just disheartening that this stuff has just come between us. I really don't get it. I don't understand if it was worth it, because it wasn't. I don't understand what anybody got out of the divisiveness. I don't get it.
Nothing.
I don't get it.
It's just a bunch of, you know, once again, we also live in a world, as much as I think podcasts are great, but it's more opinions. And it's someone a little bit smarter, you think smarter than you or has an influence, and then you grab their opinion, and you grab their opinion, and then you get CNN's, you know, and then you get Fox's opinion, then you get your friend's opinion, then it's all of these opinions, and you just it's I don't know. I mean, you think it'd be good to know everyone else's perspective or opinion, but maybe it's not. I remember, man. I don't know.
I didn't pay attention a lot to the news when I was growing up, but I do know Dan Rather, I know Peter Jennings, I know Tom Brokaw, and I know who is it? NBC. I think it was 4 major news guys from each network, and they gave you the news, and then the news went off, and then Hill Street Blues came on, or Magnum PI came on. They didn't have panels of people to discuss the news
exactly,
and to give their perspective on the news. So I think that has really led to what we see.
A lot of
because everybody can find somebody to agree with what they have to say. You know, everybody can do that. And that's why I start with the CNN, because I think they're messed up as well. I start with the Fox News because I think they're messed up. I think everybody's messed up.
They all got money above them. They got money above them.
And I was just like, I am just going to have the best existence I could have. I'm going to nurture my friendships the best way that I can. And, you know, even to hear people talking about 2022 politics, I'm like, are you like, can we, like, is that all we're going to be? Is that all we are going to be? Yeah. Worrying about something that hasn't even happened yet.
Yeah. And it's just another click too. It's just something to, I think just as a society, we got to throw our hands up. If it means getting off Facebook and all these social media sites, whatever's causing the division. But
I agree with that.
Man, dude, we could talk for hours about this. I want to close it up, but I want to give you the opportunity to give a pitch for your book. I
Yeah.
know that's been your baby for
Yes.
10 years, I think you said.
That's
Tell me
right.
how it started. Tell me your passion behind it. Tell me what you're trying to do with it.
Yeah, so it started. So I recreate these scenes from movies and iconic images, and it started in a myriad of ways. So, but I think the most direct way that it started is I was not being hired to shoot the kind of pictures that I wanted to shoot, and I knew that I had the skill set to do that. So, and I knew that I have the resources to do it. So I had to figure out if from those celebrity suites I would interact with these people a lot. So I would say, hey, I'm doing this book and I'm recreating these really cool scenes from movies and iconic images, and I would love it with Black celebrities and entertainers, only
Hmm.
because I just wanted a challenge. I could have did it with passive buyers, but nobody really cares. I really wanted a challenge, and be careful what you wish for because you might get it. And I really wanted a challenge, and I was really happy and excited about the people that sort of joined to do it, and it kind of grew, and then and more people and more people and more people, and then I actually thought that once I had everything shot, like getting a book deal was just going to be easy, and
Yeah,
it's been the opposite because
really.
people don't understand it. They want to know what you're trying to say. I'm like, I'm not trying to say anything.
Yeah,
If you know, um, if you flip through the pages, you'll look at what I'm trying to say. Now, if you want to talk
yeah,
about how you feel about it, let's talk about that. But that's a different conversation. But I'm
right.
trying to say exactly what it is. I'm an artist, and that's how I chose to express myself. And then you get the people, oh, what if I do a book called White Hollywood Project? I'm like, I don't know. You should just do it and then see.
Yeah.
Like, why do I have to be the answer for
Yeah. Yeah.
for what
Yeah.
you decide to do? I can't control that. Like, do it and see what happens. And
Yeah.
that's what I did.
Yeah.
There's no
So
there's
so this book, this everything you did, your whole set, everything, it's all out of your pocket. This
all
is
out of pocket. I got one check for $3,000 once, 8 years into shooting, and it was used to hair, makeup, all that. But everything has come out of my pocket, and I have, and I should say this because people don't know it. I have a really good relationship with major studios in Los Angeles, and
okay.
from Smashbox to Coyote to Milk Studios. So it's not like I was paying, you know, $1,500, $22,000 to do it. Oftentimes, because of my connection with them, I could go in and shoot for free, which
Okay.
which makes a huge difference. And
Yeah, for
use the
sure.
use the lights for free.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen some of these sets. Some of these sets have had, $5,500 worth of equipment on them, just in equipment alone. But
That's crazy.
that's still whether I paid out of my pocket for that. That's still a value attached to that, right?
Right. Oh yeah,
Like
for sure.
the value of it is there. So I I paid for the hair and the makeup, the clothes, the wardrobe, the sets, um, the retouching, and I'm about to pay for the layout. So I'm just stoked. And on the
And
day in LA, I need you to come out, and your wife and yourself and the kids. You can go
dude.
to Santa Monica Pier and
Oh
ride some rides and come enjoy this party. It's gonna be
man.
hot, hot, hot.
Yes,
I
yes.
promise you that.
Well, you think this song will be played? No, you're good. I screwed it up. I was trying to send this out with a song, and
I
it
know, dude.
it connected to my headphone instead of my phone.
Oh yeah, because the earpiece were in there.
Yeah, it screwed it all up. I even tried
Should we
it out
try take
earlier.
two? Well, listen,
Yeah.
it took me forever. It took me a couple takes to get that take for you. And let me just say
Yeah.
this before we go. It was my distinct pleasure and honor to be asked by your incredibly lovely wife
Oh man.
to participate. I was like, are you kidding me? Of course I would.
What
If you think he'll be happy
explain
with that, I would love that.
explain what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I got a Facebook message. I was on set. I got a Facebook message from your wife that said, "Hey, Blake is turning 40 years old, and I'm pulling together all these really cool clips from everybody. And I'm just wondering if you would take a moment to tell them happy birthday, and you can get anything involved or anybody involved, just make it fun. And I'm like, oh, dude, I got this on lock. I'm like, I already got this on lock. I already know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And so I did the video, but I was like, how can I do the video and do the song? Because I don't want to be. So I went to my friend's house to do it, and we walked through it. I'm like, I'm going to signal for you to hit play.
Oh my goodness.
And then I want to get into it and I explained to them, I said, yeah, I told them how we met and how we had bonded over a multitude of things, but in particular, all I do is win.
Yeah.
And it was such a fun, incredible, life, altering, remembering evening for me. That's just my own experience.
Yeah.
That when she asked me that, I was just like, oh, dude, yeah, of course, full circle.
Oh, man.
And I just thank her so much for even considering me.
That's really cool. I mean, so, my wife just reached out to some friends, like you mentioned, to do some videos, and they were just one after another was popping up, and, I would get pretty excited or whatever. And then, dude, you popped up on the screen, and I was just like, oh my God, you got Tommy. Oh my, dude, I was so happy. And I was waiting for you to drop the beat, and I knew it was coming. Dude.
Oh, did you know it was coming?
I knew it.
Did you know it was coming?
It's so funny. Yeah. So for those that don't know, the song, this one right here, I'm going to try this again. I tried it earlier and I screwed it up. It's not doing it.
It's what you have to. Oh, you talking to me, so you have to.
It keeps connecting. I'm getting mad now. Hold on. I don't even know how I'm gonna be able to edit that. that was such a mess there at the end. No,
you're a consummate pro. You'll get it. You're a consummate.
Yeah, I had it set up. I was just trying to play some music there at the end, but it kept switching to my headphones, and then all I could hear was in my ears, and I was like, well, this isn't doing any good.
That's right.
Yeah, so that's what I did. I tried to press play because I was like, this is the song that we bonded over, and I pressed play and it went to my ears, and I was like, well, that's screwed up. So but real quick, I'll wrap it up here. But what Tommy and I were just talking about was the song All I Do Is Win. That was really popular when we were hanging out that weekend for the Super Bowl. And I mean, it was just this moment, dude. We just looked at each other. All I do is win, 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 no matter what.
No matter what.
So every time, and it's funny and I know it's the same thing for you as it is for me. Every time you hear that song play, it takes you back to that moment, man. It's just, it's so cool. I'm gonna leave you with this, Tommy. I hope this makes sense to you, dude.
Please.
The other day, I was eating a Rice Krispie treat.
Okay.
All right. The deliciousness of a Rice Krispie treat.
A man after my own heart.
I mean, dude. And I was looking at each Rice Krispie, and I said, that's like each Rice Krispie represents like a person in your life, like an interaction, right? And then all that yummy marshmallows just kind of connects us and keeps us all together, right? And I think about like just our simple relationship, just that initial meeting, just that whatever little bond that we have. I was like, that's what's special about life. That's what is cool about life. That where you can have these brotherly conversations and, even from afar, try to build each other up or whatever. So, man, I really do appreciate you. I see you. I'm so proud of you for going after your dreams, really, not working for a man and trying it on your own and trying it in California, dude. It's so hard to do that. I really hope this book is a success. I really hope it gets you everything you need, man. I really do appreciate you, Tommy.
I appreciate that, man. And I know that you're a God-fearing, loving human being.
Yes, sir.
I pray that you put me and keep me in your prayers, and I thank you for that. And we need more people like you in the world, because there's no rhyme or reason why we stayed in touch particularly, but I'm really glad that we did. And like I said, you're my brother. I have nothing but love for you and your family, and much love, incredibly great health, much success, putting those girls in the world, those beautiful girls in the world, man. Thank you. Because I know you're going to do the right. I thanked you because I know you're going to do the right thing.
Wow.
And I know that. And that's rare. And I appreciate that. I appreciate you for that. You know that. And all we do is win. That's all we do is win.
I was gonna try to play the song again, but I done screwed it up twice. Actually, I'm gonna do it one more time. Why not? I think I got it figured out now. Can you hear it?
Well,
And they stay there. My dude, Tommy,
come on.
appreciate you, buddy. Keep doing you,
Absolutely,
man.
Ray.
All right,
Thank
man.
you.
I'll talk to you. It was
We'll
fun.
be in touch soon. I'll see you.
We will. Peace out. Good luck tomorrow.
Night. Thank you.
That's us.
Next.